The Confederacy, born out of the Southern states' secession from the Union, was a powerful entity that fought to preserve its vision of a society based on slavery and agricultural economics. This documentary delves into the lives of the Confederate leaders who played pivotal roles in the Civil War, their motivations, leadership styles, and lasting legacies. It is important to understand not only their personal histories but also how their actions impacted the course of American history, both during and after the war. The Confederate States of America, CSA, came into existence in February 1861, following the election of Abraham Lincoln as President of the United States. Lincoln's opposition to the expansion of slavery into the territories was seen by many Southern states as a direct threat to their way of life. In response, 11 Southern states seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy, led by President Jefferson Davis. The Civil War, fought from 1861 to 1865, was not only a conflict between the Union and the Confederacy but a war over the future of the United States. The Southern states fought to protect slavery, while the Northern states, under Lincoln, aimed to preserve the Union. At the heart of this conflict were the leaders of the Confederacy, men whose decisions would shape the fate of the nation. No figure is more synonymous with the Confederate States of America than Jefferson Davis, the first and only president of the Confederacy. Born in Kentucky in 1808, Davis had a distinguished career in the U.S. Army before transitioning into politics. He served as a U.S. Senator from Mississippi and as Secretary of War under President Franklin Pierce. However, his true historical significance came when he was chosen to lead the Confederacy. Davis's leadership style was often described as rigid and uncompromising, particularly in his dedication to maintaining the Confederacy's position on slavery. He was deeply committed to states' rights and believed that the Southern states had the constitutional right to secede from the Union. During the war, Davis faced constant challenges in managing a divided and resource-poor Confederacy, and his leadership was often criticized for being too centralized and autocratic. When it comes to Confederate leaders, few names are as legendary as Robert E. Lee. Born into a prominent Virginia family, Lee was a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point and had a distinguished career in the U.S. Army before the Civil War. He was considered one of the most capable military minds of his generation, and his decision to side with the Confederacy, despite having strong Unionist sympathies, remains one of the most debated aspects of his career. One of the most famous Confederate generals, Thomas Stonewall Jackson, earned his reputation through his daring and unconventional military strategies. Jackson was born in 1824 in Virginia and was a professor at the Virginia Military Institute before the Civil War. He was known for his steadfastness and his ability to inspire his troops, earning the nickname Stonewall at the First Battle of Bull Run, where he stood firm like a stone wall against the Union forces. Jackson was a devout Christian and a deeply committed Confederate. He believed in the righteousness of the Southern cause and was fiercely dedicated to the Confederacy's victory. His tactics, often described as bold and audacious, were highly effective in the early stages of the war, and his victories at battles like the Battle of Chancellorsville cemented his status as one of the Confederacy's greatest generals.